Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar, which, as you can see in front of you, is the VAT return step 3, the final step in submission of your VAT return. Hopefully you're all having a wonderful day. It's lovely and sunny up here in Newcastle. Hopefully it's sunny where you are as well. Let's try and make today a little bit brighter by showing you how easy this process can be. There we are, what a segue. Let's have a look at what we're going to be covering today then. So first off, what we're going to be having a look at is the VAT transfer journals. Now, forgive me if I do refer to this as VAT. Sometimes it does slip out. I'll try my best to maintain the VAT though. But we'll look at the VAT transfer journals. What are they and what they do, and how we go about them. Then we'll have a quick look at the bank receipt and payment options as well. You may complete during the process of submitting your VAT on the final stage of using the wizard. And then we've got a video on the VAT submission. We won't be able to do the VAT submission live, obviously, because I don't want to be submitting anything to HMRC today. So we've got a pre-recorded video from Michael. We'll guide you through the process step by step. I'll go on mute for that one, you can enjoy. After that, we'll have a round of questions to see if there is any at all. Now, remember the rules. If you've been here before, you'll know them. If not, here are the rules essentially. So you're automatically muted if you do need to cough or sneeze. We're not going to hear you, so don't worry, you won't be interrupted. Sing along to the radio to your heart's content. That's absolutely fine. You won't be interjecting at all. The slides for today are attached as a download in black and white and in colour. Please download them now. The reason I say that is so that you don't forget. If you're like me, you would forget at the end. It does contain helpful links to articles and resources, as well as obviously today's content. So if you need to reflect on it or share it with a colleague, you've got it there available. You also will receive a copy of the webinar in your follow-up email as well. So this is, I was just picked this question up, but it is part 2, but it is part 3 on the actual wizard itself. I'll go into that in detail. But good question, Claire. Brilliant, Barry. I'm glad to know it's sunny in Skegness. Happy days. So as I say, any questions, please send them in. As you can see, Abby's here today. Wonderful, Abby. So any questions, we will answer them within the allotted time frame, which is scheduled for 45 minutes. If I'm going to be honest with you, it's probably going to be less. You're probably going to get some time back. Around about 30, 35 minutes is what I would think. So if you're in charge of your day, go make yourself a cup of tea afterwards. If not, then ask somebody if you can, because you are going to get that time. Okay, without further ado, let's get into it then, the VAT transfer journals. So why do you need to post them? Why does Sage post them for you? Well, the VAT transfer journals, they're basically used to transfer values from 2 nominal codes, your sales and purchase tax control accounts, into the VAT liability nominal code. So that's why essentially we need to post them, to make sure that all the values are in the correct place, so that when you run your reports, it's more accurate if that's the kind of figure that you're going to be looking at, your VAT liability, for example. We don't make payments directly into these nominal codes. That is because you'd just be creating work for yourself, because you'd have to do a negative payment and a plus payment at the same time. So it's a lot easier just to transfer the balances. And that's why Sage, the software, transfers them, moves them just from one to the other. No double additions or subtractions at all. So no payments, just transfers. Now, what this means, I'm sure you probably figured out by looking at this, and you may have it in your systems already, is that if you don't transfer the balances across, you could end up with potentially large cumulative values in your sales tax control account and your purchase tax control account. That's not a major problem. It's not detrimental to do, okay? Because you may never have done this before. Basically, it's akin to leaving a room slightly untidy, if I put it that way. By transferring these figures across from left to right, you're keeping your data trimmer so that when you are running these reports, it is going to be more accurate for you to look at. There is no investigation needed. It's basically just keeping things nice and clean. That's all it is. It's not detrimental to the program or your numbers. It doesn't change your liability, doesn't create any incorrect submissions to HMRC or anything like that at all. It is all just about visuals on this one. So if you haven't been doing it, don't worry. It's not a major problem. You can catch up on it by going through your VAT returns and posting these journals one by one. and then you'll be up to date. I'll show you how to do that in the demonstration as well. One thing to note as well is that your VAT liability, once you've transferred it across, it may not always be zero. So your sales tax control account may not always be zero. So your sales tax control account, if you're processing, hopefully you're always going to have numbers in that nominal code. Even if you've just submitted something across, that's always going to be populated by a figure, hopefully. If not, it means you haven't been processing or you haven't got anything to process in that area. So don't fear. If you do run this, again, I'll show you in the demonstration, you do run this and that balance isn't zero, not a major problem whatsoever. And as I say, if you haven't been doing it, you can always catch up. I think, although you can see the box in front of you there, you can see the nominal codes, I think, again, it's always best if you can actually see what I'm talking about. So let's switch over to the demonstration now, and we'll open up the Sage 50. And this is my demonstration data. Again, like Blue Peter, this is one that I created earlier for you just to see what we're going to be talking about today. So forgive me, it's not a large data set. What we're going to focus on first off is we're going to swoop into nominal codes, and we're going to check on these nominal codes that I referenced before. Now, as you can see, just quickly as a reference here, this is your VAT screen. Jackie would have taken you through this earlier in the week. On the right-hand side, VAT transferred, sorry, there I did it. VAT transferred. Right at the bottom there, we've got an N, which means no, hasn't been transferred. So if I swoop down to my nominal codes here on the left-hand side, and in front of me is my nominal codes list, as you can see, the big screen. I've automatically brought us down to this set here. Nominal code 2200, 2201, 2202, which are the default out-of-the-box nominal codes that you'll get with Sage 50 for these control accounts. Okay, so your sales tax control account balance is there, the credit, purchase tax control account, here is the debit, and there's your VAT liability. This is an incomplete transfer, as you can see before. There was quite a few, just to quickly dart back, that hadn't been submitted. Therefore, a cumulative total in all. Again, not an issue. It just looks how it looks at the end of the day. And as I say, that's probably always going to have a figure in this column here, your sales tax control, hopefully, and the credit column, because you will continually process. Now, if I was to look at a complete version, I'm going to quickly jump to a different set of data. Again, very Blue Peter. If I look at a complete section here, my practice data, just wait for this to load. What you're going to notice is it is changed across. And again, it's better to see it visually. So if I quickly have a look in my VAT module, you'll see all VAT is being transferred on here. If I go to my nominal codes, again, good way of finding this is using the filter at the top or the search bar. Just click sales tax control account there. I can type in purchase. Again, purchase tax control account, or I could type in VAT. If I wanted to find them all together, again, default out of the box, it's going to be in the 2200 to 2202 range here. And as you can see, this is a transfer that has been completed, and I'm fully up to date with all my other transfers. So my purchase tax control account is at zero, so is my VAT liability. However, my sales tax control account is £64.80 because I have continued to process. So again, not to labour the point, but have no fear. That is because all the VAT is being transferred. So in essence, if I go back to my other company data, there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can do this manually, or you can do it using the actual system itself, using the wizard. So I'm just going to quickly open up my VAT return. And this is what Jackie would have guided you through earlier in the week. So in order to do this manually, if you wanted to do this manually, that is, incorrect password there, it happens to us all. You can do it manually. Essentially, what you would have to do, like anything else, is you have to go to your nominal codes and enter in the journals. So if I did that too quickly, apologies. Nominal codes, journals. And essentially, you would enter the date here. Again, you could find your sales, purchase, tax control account, and then you would get your VAT. This time I'm just going to show you the difference with scrolling down, T liability, etc., etc. If you can see where this is going. The reason I'm demonstrating this is just to show you the time that it can take in order to do what you need to be doing manually. Now, some people do prefer to do this manually because they prefer to be the auteur, they prefer the ownership of the actual process itself. And then you would go about typing in whatever your liabilities were, for example, and you would click save, and you would you would have a process there manually complete, and it would post the journals for you. Thanks for noticing that, Barry. So yes, that would be part of the process you would be introducing. What that introduces, okay, is it introduces a bit of human error. It introduces steps into your processing as well. Sage as software is designed to save you that time, okay? And I'm going to show you how it does that. First off, back to the slides. What do the VAT transfer journals move? As I have just explained there, the UK VAT return, the VAT transfer journal moves the balance of the following boxes: sales tax, purchase tax. For ROI, your VAT return, the journals with sales tax and purchase tax, and these are the particular tax codes that we'd use. We can't tell you which ones you should use, speak to your accountant obviously first, but by default, these are the recommended one. And next slide, manual posting, as I just showed you there. VAT return, nominal codes, journal entry. You'll be presented with this screen in front of you. There's a little bit more detail than I showed you in the demonstration there, obviously, because again, this was prepared earlier. But you can see, you type your details, VAT transfer, tax codes, your debits, your credits, etc. And obviously the posting date as well, because you want to get that correct, is your posting date from where your VAT liability began. Hopefully that makes sense. So going through that demonstration there, you can see the manual process of it all and the human error that could be introduced. Now let's have a look at the easiest option, and the option that I would recommend, and anybody else I think Sage would also recommend, and that is simply letting Sage do that work for you. So VAT, click on the VAT return. You can either click on VAT return at top, or you can double click on the one in question. You're presented with a reconciled VAT. Good question, Claire. I'm going to be going through that. So Claire asked if there is a way to go back to previous years to fix this, or better to leave as it is. I'm just going to pop a pin in that quickly, and I'm going to show you, Claire, but that's a really good question. So once we've opened the VAT return that we're focusing on, you can see it's been reconciled. The clue is that big box there that says reconciled. And then beneath, you've got all your figures. Again, Jackie would have showed you this, but you can drill down to investigate your figures by clicking in these little boxes here, and it'll bring up all this information. If it needs investigation, you can send it to Excel, have a dig through, sort out what you need to sort out. But I'm working on the presumption that all of this is correct for you, just as it is for me. Right-hand side is what we're going to focus on. So VAT transfer. Literally, in the demonstration I've just showed you, we had to click on nominal codes. We had to click on journal entry. We had to find the nominal code, then find the VAT, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then add it up. As you can see, it is already done here. It's pre-populated for you, VAT transfer. So all I would do is click post journal. Obviously, I'd check these figures are correct, which again, for the purpose of this is correct, and the date, again, for the purpose of this is correct. But that's one click, and it tells me transferred. Now, for the eagle-eyed amongst you there, you may see VAT transferred N. I'm going to close out of this, That changes to a Y because it has been transferred. And just for verification of this, I'll have a look at my transactions, and there you have it, right at the bottom there. All been transferred. Obviously, you wouldn't have to come out of the program and double check it. This is just a demonstration again. You're happy to stay in here. So on to your question, Claire, which is a good one. Thanks for your patience waiting there. As you can see, if you haven't been doing this, then you can click into these old VAT returns and you can post your journals there. Again, post. It will mention that it's out of the financial year. If you haven't run your year end for that year yet, click yes, and it'll transfer. Again, post journal, yes, and it will transfer. I'm doing this quickly just for the demonstration. Again, presuming that all my figures are correct, post yes. Brilliant. So now you can see all those N's have changed to Y's, from no's to yeses. And then when you go to your nominal codes, so just double check that, you will see a big change. Obviously, these figures aren't quite correct because it's demonstration data, but your VAT liability will be up to date. What I would do before you do any of that is take a backup. Okay, before you do any processes within Sage, i.e. submitting a VAT, posting any journals, anything like that at all, always take a backup. Because if for some reason something is correct and you wish you hadn't have done that, instead of reversing journals and unpicking your way through things and retracing steps like Hansel and Gretel with the breadcrumbs, it's a lot easier just to restore the work before you started it. So create that saved point, that backup, call it pre-VAT submission if you want to, and then post your journals. Have a look at it, make sure you're happy with it. If you're not happy with it, restore the backup, do some investigation. So again, steps I would take there: restore backup, take a backup, sorry, and then have a look. Do your processing. Doesn't take too long to do your VAT transfers, but there's nothing stopping you going back periodically and doing that. And if there is any figures hanging over, just do a bit of investigation with them. If you get a bit confused by the numbers, then what I would do is either contact our chat team or give our tech team a call, and they'll be able to do some investigation with you. They obviously won't be privy to your numbers, they're your figures at the end of the day, but they may be able to help you retrace certain steps on how to find out how things are there. So the most accurate and efficient way is let Sage do the postings for you. Transferred. There we are. Back to the slides again, not to labour the point, but just to confirm everything we've looked at there. Post journal in the top right hand corner. Post them at the click of a button. Remove that human error. Remove those extra steps. Nothing to say you can't do it manually, but it's probably quicker and more efficient to let the wizard do it for you. Okay. So the next we said we would look at would be the bank payment and the receipt. So why post a payment or receipt? Payment or receipt is obviously if you are owing or owed from HMRC or Ross from the revenue. Okay, so obviously it's down to what your figure says to which one you would post. But again, this is simple. I'm not going to go through this in great detail because I'm guessing that we all know how to do a bank payment or bank receipt. I'm going to work off that knowledge, but essentially you would do that. You would do a manual bank payment, as you can see in the demonstration in front of you here, from the nominated bank account you were going to be using, the date, the nominal codes, and also the details, the amount, etc. Again, I'm not going to go through that one because we all know how to do that, but that's a manual posting. What's the other option? Well, again, the eagle-eyed probably saw it. It's here. In your VAT return, record receipt. A popular question that is asked here: if you're owed or owe, does this word change? No, but the transaction does. So if you're in receipt of money, it will post. If you're posting a payment, that would say payment. If it's a receipt, it will say receipt. It doesn't change automatically. If I was to type a plus or a minus in front of this figure, it pre-populates with what the system tells it. So not to get too confusing on there. But if it was a payment, when you reconciled, it would stay a payment and the word here would say payment. If it was a receipt when you reconciled, this word is receipt. As you can see, I'm in receipt. So it automatically decided 1200. You can change that if you wanted to. I would enter the date. I'm just going to say that this happened today. A reference, again, just going to say, I'll call it VATR for receipt there. I call it VATREC. It's a refund in the details, the amount that I'm be getting. Now, the interesting thing is if you don't want to do this automatically here because it's incorrect and you want to make it a payment or whatever the reason might be, whatever the reason could be, and you do want to do this manually, you would go to your bank, you would make this manually, and then you would just mark this here. Done. How about Ed? If you could go more into that question, I don't understand. Reverse the payment posted. It may be a specific reason, but there's no reason to do it using the wizard to be able to do that manually, if I've understood that question. But so to post bank receipt, because we are in receipt of a refund, and if I have done that manually, I would click it as mark as received. If I haven't done it manually, I would just click this button and it would post that bank receipt for me, or payment, depending on the scenario that you have. So if I click that now, again, I haven't run my financial year, apologies. But there, it's marked as received. And that's done. Just as if it was a payment, it would say post payment, payment made. You've also got the option to add attachments. So for this example, in this demonstration, if I'd received a letter from ROS or HMRC, I could add that as a scanned attachment here by clicking on attachment, browsing to the file, putting it there, clicking OK. So there we go. If I click close on that now, we're going to go back to the slides to have a look at the automatic posting. Superb. So as you can see there, actually, it does say post bank payment. So that's what you would see. So it posts the transaction, it marks everything as paid within the VAT return window. Once you've done that, if you've clicked it through the wizard, you don't have the option to mark it as unpaid because the wizard's done it for you. So the wizard's job's been completed, therefore it won't be able to be unticked, if that makes sense. You can only click on mark as paid and then untick that box if you're doing this manually without using the wizard. Hopefully that makes sense. Correct, it's posted it for you, June. So it is just like when you post a normal bank payment or you post a normal bank receipt. It's exactly the same process, just in this instance, it is the wizard doing the work for you on your behalf. So same rules apply, if that's a better blanket statement to use. So instead of you leaving this screen, clicking close, and then doing the bank payment or receipt, Sage, you by clicking this button here, Sage is doing that all in the background for you. It's probably a better way of explaining it there. Excellent. So I'm just checking up on the questions here. I think Abby's working through them. Superb. So then, as you can see, it also marks a VAT return as paid within the VAT ledger as well. So what we're going to be looking at now is the video from Michael on the submission, because what the next step would be was once we've done the VAT transfer and we recorded the payment or receipt, we've got the submit online option. Now, if you are submitting this manually, i.e. in the ROI, Republic of Ireland, then you would still have to upload the XML file and mark as submitted here. If you're still submitting them manually for whatever reason in the UK, again, you'd have to click as mark as submitted in this. But with MTD, Making Tax Digital, coming in, it's going to be using the submit online and using the HMRC portal. And that is the video I'm about to share with you now. So if you bear me 2 seconds, I'm going to play this for you. As soon as I can see it, I should be back in just a moment.
In this demonstration, we're going to show you the steps to submit your VAT return online. We join the demonstration where we're on step 3 of the VAT return, so it's already been reconciled, and we're ready to submit it online. So on the right hand side, we click Submit Online. The online submission wizard appears, and you click Next. Ensure that the correct company name and VAT registration number appears, and then click Next. An authority page appears, and if you scroll down to the bottom, you can then click Continue. You're then prompted to sign in with your Government Gateway user ID and password. Once entered, click Sign In. You then click Grant Authority. You'll then be prompted to choose your period, and it should default to the correct one. Just make sure this is correct, and then select the checkbox to say that you agree to the following HMRC declaration, and then click Submit to HMRC. Once completed, a congratulations message appears, indicating you successfully submitted your VAT return to HMRC. You click Close. You then return to the VAT return, and as you can see, the VAT return is now flagged as being submitted.
And there we have it. From Michael himself, lovely video there, which is also available on our help centre and articles. So if you do want to catch that again, sage.co.uk/help, if you type in VAT submission, that's going to pop up in one of the articles. It's also included in the handout as well, one of the links that you can click on. So it's always going to be there for you. So submit your VAT return in the UK. So the VAT return in the UK is submitted digitally under Making Tax Digital, and it must be activated. MTD submission within your settings. Now, if you're logged in as manager, you're going to be able to do this. It will prompt you to type in your password again, as it always will do, just for that extra layer of security. But then you would click on Settings, Company Preferences, VAT, and then this little box here, Enable Making Tax Digital for VAT submissions. And then your VAT submissions are going to be submitted directly from the software to the HMRC portal, which is the new way of going. Now, to touch on a question there, which was asked about ROI, Republic of Ireland, VAT still needs to be submitted manually. So slight difference in the screen, as you can see in front of me here, submit to the Revenue Commissioners. You still have to return and send the XML file. Again, within the help guides, there's going to be guides on how you can perform that submission. But it's not too much of a difficult process. It's just that kind of extra layer of steps at the moment with no MTD available in ROI. Hopefully that'll be coming soon though. Other than that, that is probably why it was going to be a quick webinar, because it's that easy to use the wizard. It will do everything for you. When you click on post a journal, it will post those journals. When you click on the post bank payment or bank receipt, it will post either or, one of those. And it's all done in one area for you. So you're not going from left to right to left to right. Yes, the options are there to do things manually, but why would you introduce that layer of potential human error? extra steps to your day. You've got other things that you want to be doing, and that's what Sage is about, is saving you that time rather than having to do things manually. So in summary, always ensure that you have a backup. You'll always hear me say that, and everybody here that runs webinars, all our techs say it all the time. One of the first questions is, do you have a backup? Before you post any journals, before you do anything at all when it comes to VAT submissions, make sure you've created a saved point in your data. Also, do a data check. Make sure there's no errors or anything, and that you're completely happy with the health of your data. Once those two bases are covered, that's your insurance policy. If anything goes wrong, I'm going to restore to this moment in time before they did go wrong, rather than having to unpick and untangle. It's like untangled headphones. If you're as old as I and you remember when they were all wired and they were tangled in your pocket, trying to pick those across, just don't. Take a save point, return to it. So the VAT transfer is used to transfer your sales and purchase tax values to the VAT liability. Remember, your sales may not always, or you may never see it as zero, and that's hopefully because you're always processing. Without doing it, they will accumulate large balances. Again, not detrimental. Just if you don't want them there, start doing the transfers. The VAT transfer wizard takes the pain out of that, as you saw, as well as the pain of the bank payment or the receipt. It does recognize which one it's going to be, and it posts to the correct action as well. So with the UK, your submissions are sent digitally, direct from the software to HMRC, as is the way now. So follow what Michael said on that video. Again, it's a very easy process to follow. Help guides and articles galore. It's sage.co.uk/help on that one. But for ROI, submissions are still required XML file, the .xml file, to be downloaded and uploaded to the revenue there. And that's when you would go back into your VAT return and click Mark as submitted. And once you've done all that, just to revert back to my 50 again, once you've done your VAT transfer, you have marked it as submitted, you have recorded the receipt or the payment, this is what you'll see. Submitted status, paid status, yes. VAT transferred, yes. Until you've submitted or clicked marked as submitted, you're going to see pending. So just pending there. So if I go back in now, obviously because I'm not going to submit it, I'll just click mark as submitted, and there we are. Yes, all done. So hopefully that all makes sense. Questions have been coming in brilliantly, thick and fast. You kept Abby very busy, which is always good. So big thank you to Abby for being on hand today to answer all these questions. Very good question that I'm just going to voice, even though Abby has already answered it, is when doing a backup, does it override the previous backup? And the answer is no to that one. You can save as many backups as you like, as long as you've got the hardware to cope with the memory of the size of your data, etc. Speak to your IT department about that, or somebody who knows about computers in your area, and they'll be able to tell you. But when you create the backup, it creates a separate file from the previous backup that you created. So yeah, have no fear about that one. Brilliant. So essentially, that is it for today's webinar. Thank you all very much for attending, and thank you very much for your questions as well. On your way out your virtual door, there is going to be a survey there for you to complete. Please complete it. We do read every single comment that you leave. It's great for us to know what we're doing or what we could do better if possible. Also, we like to read them because we like to know what topics you want to see. These webinars are all designed to help you. So if there's anything that you do need help with, give us a shout in the follow-up email, in the survey after this. Let us know what topics you want, and we can get them covered for you. Okay, as I say, we read every single comment that there is, so thank you very much preemptively. Other than that, the sun is still shining. I'm going to leave you all to your busy days. If you do need anything at all, reach out. You know where we are. Have a great week. Speak soon. Bye for now.